All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is Jamie Shabbat. I am the Assistant Director of Career Resources and Programs here in the UNH Alumni Relations Office. And I'm thrilled to bring you this live webinar. We have ALKU on the line. ALKU is one of our fantastic campus partners with our Career and Professional Success team. And now we're excited to bridge the gap to help them support alumni. We have Erin, Zach, and John with us, and they have put together an incredible presentation chock full of action items and tips and tricks on how you can really set yourself up for success in your career when you get started at an organization. I am going to pass it over to them to get started. Just to point out a few features, we're going to have the presentation run. It's going to be about 35 to 40 minutes. And then if you look down at the bottom of your presentation, there's a Q&A option. When we get to the end, if you have questions for our ALKU team, you can just use the Q&A feature, type in your questions, and they'll answer your questions live at the end. Thank you so much again for being here, and here is ALKU.
So thanks again, Jamie, and thanks everyone for joining. So my name is Erin McCormick, and I'm an account manager over here at ALKU. I graduated from UNH in 2014, where I was a marketing major at DePaul College. I was also a marketing intern for about 1.5 years at a company in Burlington, Mass. So majoring in marketing, that's what I thought I had wanted to go into post-graduation. I actually had a friend who was 1 year older than me at UNH who started working at ALKU, and during my senior year, he would reach out and say, Erin, I think you'd really enjoy working here. I think you should go into sales. I think you'd really strive in this environment. And I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so actually post-graduation, I was still interning as a marketing intern at the company that I was working for. And I saw that ALKU had posted a position for marketing coordinator. And so I had applied online, and the CEO, Mark Eldridge at the time, actually was calling everyone individually who applied online. And he had mentioned that he'd heard from my friend that he thought I'd be better at doing sales than marketing. And so I came in to interview for sales. And now 3.5 years later, I'm still over here doing sales and account manager here at ALKU.
I'm Zach Stevens. I am the client services coordinator here at ALKU. I graduated from UNH in 2016 from DePaul College. I was an accounting and finance major. Originally, when I was in school, I thought I wanted to go the accounting route and get my CPA. I kind of shied away from that, and I wanted to do like internal accounting at a company somewhere. I met Marissa, who is the internal recruiting manager here at ALKU. I met her actually at the UNH Career Fair in 2016, and I ended up interviewing for a position within the billing department. I got the job. I started right after college, and from there, I kind of transitioned into the role that I'm in now this past summer, and it's been going great.
My name is John Kujala. I'm the Vice President of Recruiting Operations. I am a UMass Amherst alum. I've been with ALKU for 8 years in staffing industry for over 12 years. I started here as the first recruiter and built our recruiting process, training process, was promoted to recruiting manager, director of recruiting, and then recently into the role that I'm in now. My role consists of overseeing the external recruiting strategy, as well as internal recruiting, our regional training centers, and training and development.
Thank you, John. This is Erin. So I'll take you guys into the first strategy that we have to help you launch your career growth. So the first one that we have is to shift your mindset to really understand what you can and cannot control in your career, the better off you're really going to be. So sitting down and recognizing, okay, this is what I can control in my day-to-day activities, and this is what I cannot control. Once you really stop focusing on the things you can't control and that are not within your reach, it really opens the doors to be successful in your day-to-day job, and it really only leaves room for success. But also shifting your mindset in the sense of me being out of school 3.5 years and Zach as well, realizing that this was a potential career for me, not just a job to be the next stepping stone to the next company. that really helped me better understand the opportunity that I had to grow here at ALKU. And I actually have some friends at other companies as well that are in similar positions. So one thing that had happened to me was I was super emotional about my job in the beginning, and I was focusing on all the things that I couldn't control and really letting them get to me. And that hindered me big time, and it hindered my growth from year 1 to 2 over here. And I just really dwelled on too many things, and I wasn't able to grow from year 1 to year 2 really at all. And once I was able to stop focusing on the things I couldn't control, it really helped me grow from year 2 to 3 and year 3 to 4. So some of the action items that I use to really shift my mindset that can hopefully help you guys shift yours as well is set weekly or even daily goals to work on. So some of the things that I do is I come in every day and I make a list of things that I need to get done. I make sure I cross those off. And then if there's ever things that I'm really dwelling on that I think might be within my control, I sit down with my manager or someone else on my team and kind of explain to them and confide in them about the issues that I'm running into. And if they're out of my control, then they say, Erin, just forget about it, throw it away, move on to the next thing. So really just not dwelling on anything you cannot control. Don't let your emotions get in your way, because you'll just derail yourself from really growing and realizing what your potential is in this career.
This is John. When I first started in staffing, my first job, I had the mindset of going in and I wanted to be as successful as possible. And in the beginning, I first focused in on finding someone who was, on the producer in sales who was really, really good. And I wanted to be that person. But then I started looking, okay, where do I want to go next? Management was always a goal of mine. So I found one of the managers and said, that's the person that I want to be. And I'm going to find my way to get there, whatever it takes. And, I put in the hours, worked really hard, learned from the people who were mentoring me, people who were working with me. And having someone to emulate, I thought was incredibly important. And that's something that I tell people to this day. When they start here in the very beginning, it's find someone that you want to chase and the person that you want to be, and strive to be that person and do whatever it takes in order to get there. So that would be my action item is figuring out who you want to be and follow the steps to get to be that person. Zach, do you want to do strategy number 2?
Yeah, so the second strategy I came up with was that to not be afraid to make mistakes in your everyday job, because if you're not making mistakes, it really means that you're not pushing what you're doing and trying new things. And that's just really how you're going to grow, is making mistakes, correcting that, and moving on and doing better and not making the mistake again. And really the way to do that is just kind of throw yourself into a situation where you don't know exactly what you're doing, but you just go for whatever needs to get done and don't worry about messing up and having it not turn out perfectly, because you can look at the outcome of whatever that situation was and ask for feedback and see what managers and people around you, like your senior employees, go to them and ask for feedback. How could I have done that better? What should I have done differently? And just, if you do make a mistake, definitely go to your manager and just say, hey, I know I didn't do this perfectly. What could I have done to do it better next time? Do you have any examples of something that you've done similarly that you could think that I could do better, and use that example to make myself better? And I definitely think that that's just kind of the way to grow within it, and just take responsibility for your actions. And I know that I've gone to people like John over here within ALKU when I've made a mistake and just asked, hey, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, it's important to own your own mistakes. Whenever they occur, it's inevitable. There's no way around it. You're going to make mistakes. We've all made mistakes. And that's how I've grown as a manager, is by making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. And anytime I made a mistake and recognized it, I went right to my manager and said, this is what happened. How can I avoid this from occurring next time? Because if we just try to ignore the mistake, cover it up, try to get around it, we're never going to learn, never going to grow, never going to get better at our jobs. And that's what's important. So mistakes, you have to understand they're going to happen. They are inevitable. but it's what you do after the mistake. People aren't going to grow if they don't learn from their mistakes. Zach, action item 3?
So kind of going off of the last action item of not being afraid to make mistakes, really is just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and really pushing yourself to go outside of your comfort zone to advance in your career. And really just kind of trying new things and having an idea that you haven't necessarily done before, but you think could make the company better, make you better at your job, and kind of finding things that you think don't work necessarily how they should, and thinking about how you can make it better and just implement what you think you can do, and then kind of go off of that and definitely just look back at what you've done and see, okay, where was this, let's say, a year ago, and how much better are we doing it now? And kind of seeking, like, again, with the going off of the last action item of when you make mistakes, ask for feedback. Definitely look for an outside source who can say, hey, I think that you're doing really well in this, or hey, I think that you could do this better. Just off of pushing yourself, because that's really how you're going to grow, is if you're constantly pushing yourself and trying new things within your career. Because if you're not trying new things, you're not going to do anything different. And I think that I've definitely tried to do that. And I would say that Erin and John have both done that in their careers as well here.
Getting comfortable being uncomfortable is something that we teach from day one. That is in our training in the beginning, that people have to understand that's how you're going to get better at your job. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to see the development. That is what I have been through throughout my career. I know Erin and Zach both have. I've seen, everybody who works here, the same thing. They have to work on it, because nobody is great at it at first. When you're doing something new, it's uncomfortable. There's really no way around it. But the more you do it, the more you practice it, the better you will get at being comfortable doing it. And that will allow you to be able to ascend to where you want to go. It doesn't happen without that. It is an important piece to development. Erin, strategy number 4?
Yeah, thanks, John and Zach. This is Erin. To roll kind of from Zach and John's third strategy into the fourth one that we have for you guys, really the way you're going to grow and learn is to take initiative. So really show eagerness and willingness to grow and learn from others. Don't just sit at your desk and not ask questions. If you really want to move to the next step in your job, show you're not afraid of responsibility, and really be able to stand up and be confident. If someone asks you to do something that's not within your day-to-day tasks, don't just say, sorry, that's not my job, ask so-and-so. Sit down and take responsibility and go try to learn how to do that, and really be able to reflect confidence in yourself. If you feel that there isn't much growth in your job or your position, you should really be able to sit down and think outside of the box of potential new tasks that could take you into a new position that maybe the company doesn't have right now, or new opportunities that you're trying. That kind of ties into number 3 of going outside of your comfort zone. I know some examples of people here at ALKU of they sat down with their manager saying, hey, I want to make it to the next step, but I really don't know what I can do, but I have some ideas of maybe positions that ALKU doesn't have right now, or the company that you're working for doesn't have. And we've actually ALKU has created a lot of new jobs for people to be able to grow, with just thinking outside of the box of, I've seen this work before, we don't have someone who does this on a day-to-day basis. And I know some of the action items that I've used to advance my career is really being the first to jump at a new opportunity, and showing that I wasn't scared to do new things. Really be willing to help with any new projects when they spontaneously come up. Deliberately identify new projects you'd like to take on, similar into maybe finding a new position that the company you work at doesn't have right now, that you can take head on, and that can be your growth into your career to advance you over at the company you're at. But also communicate new projects and goals with your manager. Don't be afraid to ask questions. One thing that I think is really important in the taking initiative and holding yourself responsible is, over here, we personally write business plans for ourselves at the end of every year and goal sheets and really making sure that every quarter you're checking in with your manager on where you're at with those, if you've accomplished what you want to have accomplished by that time. Because personally, there's nothing better than sitting down at the end of the year and looking over all the goals that you had set yourself to accomplish and the business plan that you wrote, and knowing that you achieved all of those that you really wanted to do and even more. So.
Yeah, this is John. Number 3 and number 4 really go well together because, as I said before, doing something new can be very uncomfortable, and taking initiative typically means you're going to go and do something new. And, that's one of the things that we look for in people that we want to promote and get to the next level. People who are not just doing their day-to-day job, but they're constantly looking for opportunities that they can jump into, improve themselves, improve the company. A lot of our processes that we have in place here came from people having initiative and people coming to us and saying, hey, I see this occurring. Why don't we try this? Some of our best programs have come from that. And I have a pretty good story of someone taking initiative and getting them to where they want to be. In 2011, one of the first recruiters that I hired that worked for me, she got off to a really good start, did really well. We, in the fall of 2011, had talked about opening up a brand new division, and we had identified someone on the account management side to do that, but we hadn't identified a recruiter. And an announcement went out during a meeting talking about the fact that we were going to be starting this new division. And this recruiter, she went to our CEO, and it was actually during the Jimmy Fund Marathon walk. They had a conversation during that entire walk, and because she went to him, he decided that she was the right person to have that opportunity to be the first recruiter in this division. This division turned into the biggest division within the company. It brought her into starting our Durham office. She is now our Director of Training and Development. And I look back on it, and a big reason why she ended up where she is because she took the initiative, and she wasn't afraid to go and ask for what she wanted, and she proved that she deserved it. So, don't be afraid. You never know unless you ask and unless you take that initiative. So on to strategy number 5, benefits of mentoring. We don't get to where we are without having great mentors. I look back on my career, and really even since I've been at ALKU, my boss has been a huge mentor to me. From day one, he helped me develop even more so as a recruiter, helped me develop as a manager, and he is a big reason as to why I got to where I am today. And because he did that, I have done that for a number of people. I look at it as someone cared about my success, therefore I'm going to make sure I care about someone else's success. And I hope that there are some people out there that attribute their success to me, just like I do to my boss. It is such an important piece to what we do and how we get better at our jobs, is having someone to look at as a mentor. And sometimes it could be your boss. Sometimes it could just be someone who's been there a little bit longer than you, but you got to find that person. And sometimes it may take you going up to that person and talking to them and asking them for help.
Really, how we have a very strong culture here of mentoring. Everybody here is willing to help somebody else that's starting out because they were all in that position once. For most of the company, pretty recently too, because we have a lot of young people here who are just getting out of college. This is a lot of people's first job, but everybody's really open to helping people out. And I know that may not be the case at necessarily every company. But really something that you could do is just look around and see the people who are successful around you and watch what they do and how they do their job and what makes them successful, and just kind of emulate what they do, and it will work. Like the things that you see around you that other people are doing are going to work for you, and watch what they do, try to implement that in your daily routine and what you do. And then honestly, the same idea with all of the other steps is to seek feedback from people. Say, hey, is this what I'm doing well? And that shows that you're willing to take on what other people have shown and that you're ready to work for what you want.
Yeah, this is Erin again. I had the opportunity to be an intern mentor for the first time this past summer. And I had 2 interns reporting to me and helping out, and before it, I was really nervous that I wasn't going to do a good job, or that I wasn't going to teach them the proper way to become, I guess, an account manager over here if they had liked it. But more importantly, it was just, I was able to set an example of what I was doing on a daily basis. And I think one of the things that you always have to do is be mindful that you're always an example of what you're doing. So it actually made me go back and resharpen my skills of what I do on a daily basis, because I was their example and they were going to learn from me. So being a mentor actually helped me become better at my job, and kind of reapply the skills that I had first learned, and forced me to do everything the right way as well. And realizing that I always was the example to them. But it also helped me gain more confidence, not only in my day-to-day job, but just as an employee of ALKU. It made me step outside my comfort zone of, okay, I can be a leader, and maybe this is the path that I want to take moving into management down the line. Like, maybe this is something that I am good at. And so I started kind of figuring out, okay, maybe that's what I want to do, and that's my next step to grow over here at ALKU. But another thing too, like Zach had said, is every week I would sit down with the interns and make sure I was getting feedback from them too on what I could do better, if things were going well with them. But I was also sitting down with my manager too, and asking for advice for them to make sure that I was doing the best job that I possibly could while I was mentoring these two interns. So.
Thanks, Erin. In case you are all wondering, yes, we are actively hiring. We are always looking for full-time people, and for those of you who are students at UNH, we are looking for interns at our Durham office. So if you are interested in learning more about opportunities here at ALKU, please contact us, and one of the internal recruiters will follow up with you. Now we will take questions.
If there is any.
Hi, everybody. This is Jamie again. Sorry to jump in. I just want to make sure everyone sees there's a Q&A feature down at the bottom. There's a tool panel of the presentation. So if you have a question for the presenters, you can just hop on there and type your question in.
Yeah, we actually got a question. One of the first ones was, what do you think you should do if you know you don't have a growing opportunity in your organization? And I think this kind of goes into the hand of one of the points that I was mentioning on strategy number 4 of taking initiative. So even if you don't think that there might not be an opportunity for you, before you go and look for another job or kind of throw in the towel, maybe sit down with some people at your team, or even sit down with yourself and think what you want to do in your career. And if they don't have that at your company, to maybe sit down with some people and try to implement those new roles and new ideas to make that into a growing opportunity.
Yeah, this is John. I think this one is really about taking the initiative. If you're happy with the company that you're at, but you're not sure about growth and where it might go, it is really about you creating that path. We have a number of people who have done that in this company, where, we didn't even know that we needed a person. And a lot of times companies don't know that. Management doesn't know that there is an area that we can really use someone in. And, if you can bring that to your manager's attention and show them, well, I think this is an area that we could use help. The creation of the job is certainly there. I think Zach's actually a pretty good example. We've never had a client services coordinator before Zach.
Yeah, I kind of, in my role when I originally started, I saw something that we needed, and I just kind of took the initiative and rolled with it, and it's been great ever since. And it'll probably keep growing, and we'll find another role that we need stemming off of this.
One of the question was, hi guys, I'm pretty new at my organization, and naturally I'm looking for growth opportunities whenever I can. But I'm wondering how long before it makes sense to start positioning myself for a promotion. Is it okay to let them know I want to advance?
I think that all starts with really your personal production. When do you start looking for growth opportunities and promotions? You should have the mindset from day one that you're going to outwork everybody around you, and you're going to spend your time leading by example, showing people that you are a top employee. It all begins there, because you're not going to get promoted if you aren't doing that. And that is one of the things we look at, is people who come in from day one and are working hard, are producing, are showing that they deserve more opportunity. And once you have established that and you've shown that you are the type of person who deserves opportunity, make sure you let your manager know that you have interest in other areas, and that you'd like to see where your career path may be. But it starts day one, no matter what.
Another question we had was, my company doesn't have mentoring built into its culture. What do you suggest I try to do to find a mentor?
I would say really just take on kind of our last tip of just going and taking in everything that goes on around you, and really just finding somebody that you see that is successful, and just going up and talking to that person and kind of pick their brain and seeing what steps they took to start doing what they were doing. It doesn't need to necessarily be a formal thing, just kind of trying to take in all that you can and make the most out of the situation that you're in.
Yeah, this is Erin again. Off of that too, in ALKU, and every company is different, of course. Something that I've done is I've tried to sit down with, my manager, but maybe find someone who's within a different division or a different team of your company as well. Maybe, like Zach had mentioned, say, hey, can we get lunch, or can we grab a cup of coffee? Because you can seek out as many relationships as you want, to just try to find that person who will help guide you into the stepping stones to start launching your career. We have a question. When a position opens up in my department, how can I capitalize on my experience when up against external candidates? Internal candidates are interviewing for the job every day, where an external candidate can make a first impression.
Well, I think, again, it starts with what you're doing day one. If you're working hard day one and showing people that you deserve opportunity, you're already making that impression. And when you're going to meet with management or meet with whomever it is in regards to a new opportunity that's opened up within your department, you have experience to draw upon that an external candidate doesn't. You understand the processes within the company. You understand the culture of the company. Any external candidate doesn't understand that. So you actually have the advantage. But if you're not thinking about that stuff from the very beginning, and all of a sudden the position opens up, if you haven't set yourself up for it, your opportunity certainly will be a little bit less. So that's why it always begins in the beginning, when you first start your job, to show that you are that person and that you are a leader, lead by example, and someone who's working harder than everybody else.
Yeah, I agree on that. This is Erin again. I feel like, I know I keep saying ALKU, but I know every company is different. But over here, I think a lot of the times our leaders always look first to internal candidates to see if maybe this person can move into a sales manager of their team or recruiting manager of their team, because they've proven to the company and themselves that they're really good at their job and they're ready to take the next step. So that's my advice too. One had mentioned, I love your suggestion that people always continue to challenge themselves and grow, and found volunteering was crucial in teaching me skills that boosted my career. Do you have other ideas for people who want to continue learning new skills?
I would say just kind of going back to the pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and just kind of taking on the challenges that you see that aren't necessarily outright to everybody. Just kind of take on the challenges that you could see being a problem in the future and just saying, okay, I'm going to conquer this. And that's really how you can grow from that. Just outside, like things that wouldn't necessarily come up if you hadn't taken the initiative to go find it.
This is John. I think when you're looking to grow and we're talking about mentors, mentor doesn't just have to be within the company that you work. You could look to outside people who, whether it's family, friends, or your friends, whomever it is, that has been in similar type situations, or someone who is in a similar career path that you can go to and utilize that person. they may be able to help you with some of the skills that you're looking to grow and help you get better at those skills that you can bring back into your company. So don't just look within your organization for a mentor. Look for anybody else. I think that can really help develop your skills.
All right, I guess we'll wrap it there. Thank you so much for all of you who participated and asked the questions. And thank you so much, Erin, Zach, and John, for all of your time. The presentation was amazing, and we really appreciate your partnership here at UNH. And anyone, I would love to encourage you. From working with them, they really are a phenomenal company and huge advocates of UNH. So if you are in near one of their local offices and looking for a position, we would love to suggest to have our UNH alums apply and really have that great opportunity to work as part of the ALKU crew.
Yes, thanks again, Jamie, and thanks to everyone who did join. We were happy to share all of this with you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for all the questions. Hope it was helpful.
Absolutely, thanks. So we actually did record this as well, so we'll be able to have it up on the website. So if anyone wants to check it out later, you are more than welcome to.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thanks, everybody. Bye.